My adolescence was shaped by gaming. I was raised by my television for sure. So anytime my poor ass would be blessed by the gods with a new game, I would try to cherish it as much as possible. I learned to love what I had access to. But today, we're gonna talk about games that made it very hard to love them. Let's get into my most disappointing moments in gaming. When you're a poor kid in the Northeast, you develop a taste for pro wrestling. That's just how it was when I was growing up. But in my era, no wrestler was loved more by us kids than Jeff Hardy. Jeff could do no wrong. We just wanted the world for him. But his track record in gaming didn't give us back the love that we gave him. Whether it be his terrible, legally dubious knockoff theme song in SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, his removal from Here Comes the Pain, or his character model never changing from SVR 2008 to 2009, we had it pretty bad. I'm probably the only person to ever complain about this shit publicly, though. And hey, if you want to complain about a game publicly, why don't you do it in my comments? I read them all, and I love when y'all tell me stories. Okay, so we're done with the lighthearted shit for a moment. I need to shed some light on something that disappointed me more than any other thing I'll talk about today. I want to touch on the worst fucking piece of shit dog water ass 3DS game they ever released. I was at Kmart with my grandma. She always bought me a toy or game once I was a little older. I got the new Transformers 3DS game. I eagerly got her a Diet Pepsi that she asked for at the Arby's as I booted up my new game, and it dawned on me. This is a car combat game. Let that sink in. This is a Transformers car combat game. WWE Crush Hour is one of my most played games ever. But this is Transformers. It's in the fucking name. This is a Transformers game where you can't transform at all. Ever. I fucking hated this game so bad. I wish I grew up with the open world DS games instead. This is a good one. I remember playing Animal Crossing New Leaf around the Switch's release because of the price drop of the 2DS. I really got into it. The QR code pattern tool was amazing, but I did some kind of fishing tournament and won before bed one night. Then I got up and I opened my game and holy fucking shit. My entire fucking save file was gone. Apparently, there was a common bug in copies of New Leaf, but I figured because I had the Amiibo edition, I'd be safe. How wrong was I? I never touched the game again. I was crushed. This is a less severe disappointment. SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake was overhyped in my opinion. The amazing rehydrated remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom was fresh on everyone's mind when they showed a new SpongeBob game that looked to be 3D and explorable. It was not. I think this game was way too segmented. Everything felt mission-based, and though the gameplay was tight and somewhat engaging, the structure did not grab me in the same way that Battle for Bikini Bottom did. I can't call this game a complete failure, just a shrug for me. SVR 2008 on DS was bullshit. When you're a kid, you want to experience wrestling games in any and all facets. I got into this game years after release, with only the PS2 and PSP ports as reference from the original game. And when I tell you, this game is one of the least interactive games I've ever played. Almost everything in this game is touchscreen based. What fucking moron thought this would work? I don't think this is one of the better SVR games in general, but this port is just abysmal. The roster is compromised as fuck. The match types are just gone, and the career mode sucks ass. This DS port is just a massive letdown. Okay, this entry is just me being stupid, but it's a disappointment nonetheless. Who didn't like Pokémon as a kid? Everyone was hooked. I had White and Y for the longest time. They were great games. I dropped a lot of time into them. My problem is that I needed more. I was a fiend, but I was also dead broke as a kid. Even on my birthdays and Christmases, I had like $40 max to my name for the entire year. Most of the time, I could not afford new games. But GameStop's little DS shelf that was always locked up eluded me. One day, I had just enough to get a Pokémon game that I had never seen before. Pokémon Trozy. I never grew up with internet, so I had no clue what it was. But I figured it had to be a hidden gem, and I'd be in for another battling and trading adventure. Turns out I'm a dumbass. Trozy is a puzzle game. Not a bad one to my memory, but not at all what I wanted. To say I was disappointed when I booted that game up would be a gross understatement. I'm sure I'm not alone on this entry. Remember getting stuck as Shy Guy in DS download Mario Kart? Whether it be DS or Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, Nintendo always made sure to make me look like a broke boy in front of all my friends and cousins. I didn't get my own Mario Kart DS cartridge for ages until I was like 9. I used to look at my friends playing as Waluigi, Yoshi, and the ever so elusive Rob the Robot with such envy. Eventually though, I got a 3DS a few weeks after it came out, and Mario Kart 7 when that dropped, and that was one of the very few times I've ever felt like I was on top of the current gaming landscape. But the pain of Shy Guy will stay with me forever. My final entry today is Legends of Wrestlemania. This game is a multitude of disappointments left and right. For starters, I was a PS2 kid when it released. I had no means of playing this game until like 2015. The fact this game never got ported to PS2 but All Stars did blew my mind. Then, Legends actually neutered SVR09 by the devs taking out all the retro characters and Legends in order to push Legends of WrestleMania harder, as it was released not too long after SVR. The game itself promises so much. The first WrestleMania retrospective mode in a WWE game, mostly accurate arenas, a classic roster of OGs and guys who had never been in a mainline WWF game. The problem lies in the fact that the game tried way too hard to appeal to an audience that didn't give a fuck about video games anymore, let alone WWE games. The controls were butchered and dumbed down so much, everything was supposed to feel super arcadey, and it just ends up feeling like boring bullshit. There's so many cool ideas that were wasted on this dumb-ass game. This was the first time thumbtacks were in a WWE game. All the manager interactions were cool as shit. The presentation and graphics were immaculate. But why did it all have to be in a dog water ass game with these dog water ass mechanics and controls? Thank you very much for bearing with me.